Dave Woloshyn.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came.
How about those games last night? I'm very disoriented, to be quite honest. I don't usually sit in the room,
Your talent.
The talent
Yeah.
room. And I got Frank Isola on first take going on right now. I just sitting there where Bryant is.
But
and
now you're big time. You're in the Family Leisure Studio. You know,
I'm in the Family
big
Leisure
time.
Studio. That's right. Good setup, Brian. I'm in the Family Leisure Studio where family and fun come together. Spring is right around the corner. Come into Family Leisure now to get started on your outdoor living space. Pools are in stock and ready to purchase. All 2022 patio furniture hitting the floor daily. In-stock hot tubs ready for delivery. Great deals on play gyms, trampolines, grills, and outdoor kitchens. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. So we're in the Family Leisure Studio, but we watch.
Well, you're in the Family Leisure Studio today because you're big time.
Yeah, but you got a big Family Leisure sign behind
That's
you.
true. I guess we're both
And
in
where
the
can
Family
you
Leisure
see
Studio.
that big Family Leisure sign, Brian?
Oh, you can see it on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube.
You just get on Twitter and see it. Where do you have to go?
Go to the Sports 56 page on those respective sites.
Sports 56 WHBQ.
HBQ.
At
And then
Sports
you can
56.
find. You can see us. You can see our beautiful faces.
Yeah, we're on Zoom and whatnot. But Brian, there were some great games last night in the NBA. Which one tickled your fancy the most?
Well, I really, and I'm a big KD guy. Love me some Kevin Durant.
He had a tough night.
Love Kyrie Irving. Kyrie, one of my favorite Duke players of all time. But seeing Boston come back, they were down by a good amount. Coming back in the second half, KD just went completely silent. I think he was like 0 for 10 in the second half. And Boston, I didn't think after game one that they were going to be able to run away with it, but they're looking.
Oh, but you think after game two
I think they're going to run away with it. 4-0 sweep. I don't actually think that.
Yeah,
but
it sounds like. Why would you say it, Brian?
I just think they're clearly the better team. I had questions coming into it. Maybe Brooklyn can make a push. They've got the whole team back together. The whole gang's back together. Ben Simmons could be coming along towards game 4 or so.
I've got to tell you, I'm still very disoriented being in this room. It's very unsettling. You are a little bit higher up than I am.
And you don't like that. It's
No,
like
it's
a power thing.
Have you ever watched Colin Cowherd's radio show?
He sits higher.
He sits really high, and his guests come in, and they sit in these nice, comfortable chairs, but they're so much lower. He sits
Right.
on like a throne.
Well,
a
that's what
pedestal.
judges, they sit higher.
That's right.
So that they can, because it's like an authority
So they can
thing.
look down
Exactly.
upon you. And that's what I feel like you're doing to me right now. And so it's very unsettling.
When you want me to go down?
Yeah, move your seat down. Where you can see that on Sports 56,
that-
on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, and at Sports56WHBQ.com.
Is that better?
Yeah, at least probably a little better. But you mentioned Kevin Durant had a bad night. He did not have a good night. He was 4-17. Kyrie didn't have a great night either. He only had 10. You know what? I disagree.
Peyton Pritchard had a good night, though.
I'm not there yet. We're still talking
I'm
about
sorry.
the Nets.
I got excited.
Yeah, you did get excited. That was actually something I
Oregon
said
Duck,
to you.
quack, quack, quack.
You know what? I said that to you, and you just stole my thunder. That's like, like
don't
stealing a
think that happened.
punchline,
I don't
kind
think
of,
that happened.
with Peyton Pritchard. We can't all like Peyton Pritchard. But anyway, Kevin Durant still had 27 points, though. And he had 18 of 20 from the free throw line. So 18 free throws when you have 27 points. Not a whole lot of field goals made. The Nets only had 17 points in the fourth quarter, and they mustered up those 17 points like in the last 4 minutes of the
When
game.
they didn't have any fast break, like transition points in this, I know fourth quarter, maybe whole second half.
Yeah, there were some slow games last night. And we haven't gotten to the Sixers and Raptors yet, but that game was glacially slow. Is glacially the right word?
Which one?
The Sixers and Raptors.
Oh, yeah, that one was a very slow game.
It was a slow game. They bring it up and stop and run half-court offense. And it just got me thinking, we have the Grizzlies here, and the Grizzlies are one of the fastest teams in the
And
league.
they're playing another fast team, the Timberwolves.
That's right, two high-scoring teams. So we don't see a whole lot of that where you cross the half-court
Yeah,
and you just
and you
stop
slow
and,
down
and run your
set
half-court
something
offense.
up, yeah.
Which the Grizzlies couldn't play that way anyway, I don't think. They
No.
would.
I don't think they get beat up.
Yeah, just a little. But the Celtics you mentioned had a great night last night.
Yeah,
Obviously,
they had a good night.
Jaylen Brown went off 9 of 18. Jason Tatum had a fine night. Al Horford had a really good night last night, honestly. And you know who else played well last night?
Grant Williams.
That's right.
Is that really what you were going to say?
That's right. I thought you were going to say Peyton Pritchard, but no, that's right. It's Grant Williams. Played 32 minutes. Yeah, what a good perimeter defender that guy
Yeah.
is. We talked about Bryant.
He was perfect offensively, too.
Did I tell you he was
4 for 4 from the field.
How about that? 3 of 3 from 3.
Yeah. And 6 for 6 from the free throw
He had
line.
6
What a
rebounds.
game.
4 offensive rebounds. I mean, the guy hustles.
Yeah.
And he's what we call, Brian, I think I've said this to you before.
A former Vol.
We call him a former Vol. That would be one thing we could call him. But we also
I
call
can't say
him.
this low.
We also call him a always been good player. Now, the definition of an always been good player is
Give me the definition.
someone that's always been good.
Right.
You know, so you have to always be good to be an always be good player. And what I mean by always been good, because obviously all pros have always been good, is somebody that was really good in college. You watched them be really good in college, and then they had some kind of between finishing playing in college and being drafted or going to the league, there was some disconnect.
Right.
Where all these guys fall to the second round. Grant Williams is an excellent example of that. Jalen Brunson, who scored 40 the other night for the Mavs, is an always been good player. He fell to the second round because he was a 4-year player.
Right.
Because he's small, but he won won 2 national championships, was also the most outstanding player in college basketball. This guy fell to the second round. So he's an always been good player, scores 41. Grant Williams plays 30 minutes off the bench last night, always been good player. And the guy that you stole my thunder with early is kind of what I was getting to early.
Well, let's just go back, act like I didn't say anything. Now go ahead.
Yeah, unhear it, like in Men in Black, you know, where they have the pin where you click the button and it flashes
shoots the light.
and it hits your eyes and you forget.
And they go,
your
"What?
memory.
Who are you?"
You know, I'm actually reading a book, a Star Wars book called Revan. It's about Revan, who's a Jedi.
But it's like not written by the people who made the Star Wars.
That's not true. It's non-canon. But that's not relevant at all to what I was saying. Is that this guy Revan, he had his memory erased away because at some point this is Old Republic. He went against the Jedi's and the Republic and was started fighting for the Empire. And so they had to erase his memory. Is my point, which is what you should do right now about Peyton Pritchard, because what we really got to get to, that was Brian's hat that bumped the microphone that made that funny noise. But Peyton Pritchard comes off the bench last night and is getting buckets, has 10 points in the game, gets 4 rebounds, smallest guy on the court, gets 4 rebounds. I mean, that guy is a walking bucket getter. I really liked watching him play last night. Always been good player.
Benches have been good.
Where'd he go? Washington? Somewhere in the Northwest.
Pritchard, he was Oregon guy.
Oregon. I know
quack.
Northwest. Yeah. The Quacks. Yeah. So you like Peyton Pritchard too?
Yeah, I mean he's fine. I don't love Peyton Pritchard,
so you don't even like him that much, but you were so excited to say his name.
Well, I liked watching him in college.
Because you're a college basketball guy. You know who did not play well last night? I didn't think.
Who?
Was Kessler Edwards, who only played 3 minutes, so he didn't play much at all. I was surprised not to see him. Right. I was also surprised not to see Cam Thomas. That's
a great point.
Who both played really well, I felt like, in the regular season. Obviously, you want to play guys like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. If you're going to play them 42 minutes, there's less minutes for other guys. And you played Goran 20 minutes, who Goran hadn't played a ton, and he maybe was playing the best out of everybody in the first half, right? He had made the best for 8 of 14 in the game. And he played incredible. I saw a bunch of, I'm on Nets Twitter, Brian.
Yeah.
Because for a period of time, I think in like December or November, I decided I was going to follow along with the Nets season.
Well, and that's when that was when you first got into Twitter Spaces.
Oh, that's
and
right.
So
that's absolutely right.
You said, I'm pretty sure you said, I'm going to listen to a Spaces from every team's fan base.
Yeah.
But the Brooklyn Nets, they had a Spaces literally every night by the same group of people.
All day
and so you would get on there every single day and just listen to these 5 guys ramble about the Brooklyn Nets.
The dumbest things you've heard in your life. I lasted a week on Twitter Spaces. But I had to do the Nets because I couldn't do one that I actually cared about because I was going to get too angry because you'll hear the dummest things.
Oh, it was horrible.
It was so dumb.
It was horrible.
I had you come in there a few times too. That actually reminded me, it's a guy on a guy that I followed on Nets Twitter. I got to find this picture. A guy that I follow on Nets Twitter is a guy from Australia.
Oh, I love Australia.
You big Australian fan? Down under?
I'd love to go down
Shrimp
under.
on the barbie.
Oh, I'd love to go Australia.
Yeah?
Definitely number 1 on top 5 countries that I'd want to visit.
All right, at the end of the segment, go ahead and make it now. I want top 5 countries by the end of the segment. Okay, so that's what we're going to end the segment with. I changed my mind on what we were going to do earlier. We're going to end it with that now. But what I wanted to say is that there's a guy in Australia that follows the Nets that's big on Nets Twitter. He has like a podcast. I don't know how or why he became a Nets fan. It's such a new team. I don't understand what drew him to this. But apparently Boomer and Gio, Boomer and Geo Bryant, Boomer Esiason. They have a radio show. It's nationally syndicated. It's like a big radio show. Apparently, they were talking about the Nets, and this guy who lives in Australia that's big on Nets Twitter was like, I don't know who these guys are, but their talk about the Nets is just ridiculous. I'm like, wow, this guy from Australia, they might as well be like a local AM radio show in Des Moines, Iowa, for all this guy knows. It's a nationally syndicated radio show. He didn't like their thoughts
He's
on
all
it.
the way across the country. Or across the world, not the country.
I don't remember where I was getting to when I said that I was on Nets Twitter. But I think that's enough talk about the Nets.
Well, I think you're talking about these role players and how maybe you were looking at Nets Twitter, how big of a role they played during the regular season.
I don't
and
think
now
that was it.
those rosters being shortened.
Oh, no, it was about Goron.
There you go.
There was people
You're
on
welcome.
Nets Twitter. Yeah, you got me there. That wasn't quite right, but you got me there
It
anyway.
helped.
Goron, it did help. But Goron had like the best first half of anybody yesterday, and they didn't play him much of the third quarter at all. Steve Nash didn't, and Nets Twitter hates Steve Nash. Man, they can't stand the guy. I don't know why, but they don't like him, and so they were just railing against him not playing Goron in the third quarter. Goron hadn't played all season, man. Like 20 minutes is maybe the most you're going to get out of him. How much more time could he have on the spin on the court? It just doesn't. It didn't make sense. I mean, it was more than that. For the Nets to lose last night to the Celtics, and Bryant declared it to be a 4-0 sweep.
I did.
A series that might actually be a sweep, though, are the Sixers and the Raptors, who played on NBA TV last night. I don't like the staggered games, where it's like there's a game going on TNT,
and then an hour later,
this game starts on NBA TV. And then at the end of the third quarter, no, that's not right. Then at the end of the first game, the second game starts, so it's like halftime of the game on NBA TV. I don't like the stagger ship. I know
how are they supposed to do it?
I know a lot of people probably like, I just need to see the end of the game. I don't want to see all of it. But, like, I'm watching this other game, and I got another game on the other TV.
Right.
But you can only watch one game at once, Bryant. Look, here's something I want to tell the sports fans. I am a person that is proponent of lots of televisions, Bryant. Do you like lots of televisions when you're watching sports?
I love a lot of screens.
Me too. Sometimes I got 5 or 6. I mean, I've got a big setup going, a lot of TVs. But the fact of the matter is, if you have all those games on at once, you're not watching all of those games. You're watching the score. You can really only watch one game at once. You know, it's impossible to watch more. Maybe not with football because there's so many plays. Maybe not with baseball, but certainly for basketball, I know for a fact you can't watch more than one game at once. And I want to watch a lot of these games start to finish.
Right.
But I can't because I'm watching one or I have to go back and watch it later. And I'm a busy man, Brian. I don't have all time all day long to go rewatch all these games all the time. Especially after I've already watched them once. So I don't want to watch them staggered like that. I would like them all to be individual. Your thoughts?
No, I completely understand. I think
sounded like you disagreed at first,
I
but now
just think
you come
for
around
TV purposes, it's kind of how they have to do it.
Screw them.
I mean, that's a great idea, but yeah, I mean, I do like that they keep the little graphic in the top corner so you can keep up with the other games going on. You know, I was keeping up last night when that Raptors game went into overtime. I was keeping up with the Bulls game. I saw that score in the top corner, and I was like, okay, the Bulls are still in the lead. You know how it goes.
Anything else?
No, that's about it. That was the answer to the question.
Well, the Sixers and Raptors played last night, though. It went into overtime, Bryant.
Yeah, I just said that.
The end, I wasn't listening, to be quite honest. I was reading something. That's why I stopped talking drastically. And usually you just keep going.
But I knew you weren't listening, so I just stopped.
But the audience was listening.
So,
but the Raptors and Sixers played last night. They go into overtime.
I thought the Raptors were gonna steal that one.
So did I. I mean, so did a lot of people, I think, for a while.
But that means the series just started. It's a 3-0 series.
That's exactly right.
The series just started.
Because why, Bryant?
Because
explain yourself.
The road team has to win a game on the road.
That's not the way you say it, man. That doesn't sound good. No.
A team has to win a game on the road for the series to start.
Series doesn't start till someone loses at home.
That's right. I got it mixed up.
Yeah, you really did, kind of. That's when the series starts.
So I can't wait to watch that.
So this series just started. Which is crazy.
The Grizzlies series started in game 1.
Which is crazy that you would say that the Celtics and Nets is going to be a 4-0 sweep. The series hadn't even started yet.
That's right.
So why in the world? Right. You were the least consistent person I know, I think. I mean, you start the show stealing my Peyton Pritchard thunder, and then you say later, I don't even like that guy that much.
Well, I didn't say that. He's a fine player.
And then you also say, you go further, and claim that the Nets-Celtics series is going to be a sweep. They haven't even played a game in Brooklyn's floor yet, in the fine borough of Brooklyn.
Right.
And then you make the excellent point that the Sixers and Raptors series just started last night while forgetting the phrase, series doesn't start until a team loses at home. Mm-hmm. But you were absolutely right, though, that the Sixers and Raptors series started last night because of that.
Yep.
And it might have ended last night as well with an incredible shot by Joel Embiid that was not contested, by the way, which is remarkable. Following by the end of the regulation shot he took, which I am so tired, of Joel Embiid taking the shot. I saw Bill Simmons on Twitter also. He was like, I was wondering why Joel... That's not how Bill Simmons talks, by the way. I was wondering why...
I was going to say, it's very Boston accent.
I was wondering... This isn't Boston, this is nasally. Yeah. I was wondering why Joel Embiid took that shot at the top of the key at the end of regulation. And then I remembered who his coach was. It's Doc Rivers. Like, give me a break. Doc Rivers has probably done the best job of anybody to get this guy the ball like 18 feet and in way more often than anybody else. That was just a matter of, at the end of the game, players are playing, and Embiid gets, with the utmost confidence in the world, because he can make that shot.
Right.
But, this guy could score every possession if he wanted to.
Wild shot,
18 and in. So he misses that shot at the top of the key. It was just not a good shot. I was very upset with that. I wanted to see him get the ball closer. But he redeemed himself with an uncontested 3 at the end of overtime to win the game with, they had 0.9. Mm-hmm. The possession before they called that timeout, by the way, was a total disaster. They're trying to wait time because they know that Toronto is going to foul. They're going to give at the end of the possession. So Embiid's holding the ball, and it was Precious or Siakam, Spicy P. It was somebody tipped the ball away from Joel Embiid.
It was Precious.
It was Precious?
Mm-hmm.
Was it?
It was.
Precious played a great game, by the way.
He was fantastic. 36 minutes, 20 points,
Although
6
they
rebounds.
zoomed in, did you see this? So Precious at the free throw line.
4 turnovers.
It's
though, but that's a
101.
Memphis
So the
thing.
score is 101 to 100. We're not going to get. We have no time to do your baseball stuff later. By the way, it's already 10:18. But
I'll just give one stat.
No,
out.
I'm not. We're not doing it yet.
No,
though. I want to finish talking about this because I'm fired up now. But at the end of it was 101 to 100, and Precious is going to the line for 2 free throws. He makes the first one, and the camera zooms in on Scotty Barnes. And
Love Scotty Barnes.
And I believe what he mouthed was either I might get the amount wrong, but it was like, bet you $200 he misses the second one.
And he did. He did. He was over.
Which maybe he and Precious don't get. Maybe Precious is I don't know Precious, but it seems like Precious to me is a dog. He was drafted by the Heat, which it's always good when you get the Pat Riley seal of approval. Mm-hmm. And he played a great game last night. You did mention he had a lot of turnovers, but he put that 20 points.
That's a Memphis thing. It's okay.
He made some big plays, man, some big rebounds. I just loved watching that guy play last night. But Scotty Barnes did say, he's going to miss his second free throw, and he did.
That's hilarious. I didn't see that.
So does that mean it's rigged, or does that mean he doesn't have faith in his teammate?
It means he doesn't have faith in his teammate.
So not rigged.
Not rigged.
Huh.
That's hilarious.
Well, that series has started then, Bryant.
Yep.
James Harden also fouled out of the game, we should mention.
He did.
19, 10, and 6.
Yeah, 19, 10, and 6. But what was he from the 3? He didn't have a great night.
2 of 4. Well, he hadn't been shooting.
2 of 4.
He hadn't been shooting like James Harden usually does. He made some big plays, though. He went to the free throw line.
I thought it was worse. Who had it? Fred VanVleet had a horrific night from 3. He was 2 for 10.
Yeah, no, he didn't shoot well last night.
I knew it was one of the two. I couldn't remember who.
But OG Anunoby picked up the slack, though.
He's been awesome.
He's been really good.
26, 5, and 4.
All right, I want to talk about the Bucks and Bulls before we have to go to a break.
Okay.
Just because we haven't yet.
Mm-hmm.
And this game...
That series also started last night.
That's right. I was about to say that. You stole my line again.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Someone had to say it. At least you know how to say it properly.
Yeah, I learned. You learn something new.
You're learning something new every day. Another 40-minute game for 40 minutes played for Giannis. 44 minutes played for DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan was awesome last night.
The minutes count in this first series this year is wild. And maybe it's always like this with these guys playing these crazy amount of minutes. I'm sure it is. Mm-hmm. But, man, I mean, you got to go as far as you can go. But some of these teams are certainly going to run out of gas, and you can see that early. I don't think the Bucks are one of them. I think Giannis can sustain playing 40 minutes if he's the only one playing 40 minutes. But the Bulls have had a really tough stretch down since the All-Star break, the end of the season, and now you've got the two best players on their team playing 44-plus minutes. Man, they're going to run out of gas here soon. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the only game they win in the series. And it was on the road, too.
But, it
was on the road.
I think in this spot, you don't want to go down 2-0
But
to
DeRozan
Milwaukee,
could score 50 at any point in time.
Yeah, and so I think you got to throw the kitchen sink at them. And
is that the most you can do? Is the kitchen sink? Is there anything more? Like, could you throw a refrigerator at them?
Well,
no.
I guess that wouldn't
No,
be the
because
kitchen
the
sink.
refrigerator's not tied down in the kitchen,
no.
which makes it much easier
The
to
kitchen
throw
sink is
theoretically.
like connected to the whole like counter, so
So
you're having to throw everything.
So you really got to rip all that
Yeah.
bleep up in order to
And
get.
there's like things that go down from the kitchen sink, the
Pipes.
the pipes, yeah. So those are all
That's right.
flying everywhere.
hooked up to water.
Yeah,
So kitchen sink is the biggest thing you can throw at somebody.
I think so. That's why everybody says it.
Did you see the shirt Tristan Thompson was wearing when he came to the game last night?
No, I didn't.
He was wearing a Gap shirt. I don't know why I
Ain't
thought it
no
was funny.
Gap.
I love the Gap.
I don't know, Gap.
But Tristan Thompson famously was married or dating for a long time Khloe Kardashian.
Still is.
Is Gap? Oh, Kanye is involved in Gap,
Mm-hmm.
isn't he?
And him and Kanye are
Tight.
pretty cool, I think.
They boys.
Because I believe when it was Shy's birthday, I think Tristan played a role in sending Kanye the
Who was shy?
Chicago. It's Kanye's daughter. He has North, East, I believe, and then Chicago.
They have a child named East?
Yeah, East.
I know
West.
North. I didn't know. They
I
had
believe
East.
it's East. There's one. So there's two directions, and then there's Chicago. And there
there's
might
the
be one
place.
more.
Two directions at a place.
Two directions in the place. The place that Kanye's from, actually.
What did I tease earlier that we're going to do here?
My top 5 countries or my pitching stats? Because I have both ready.
Do one and then the
Okay.
other. Alternate.
Alternate. Okay. So number 5 of countries I'd like to go: Iceland and Greenland.
Why?
Well, because you have to go to. So
They're not the same.
I know, but you go to them together. They're both small, so I think they can count as one.
And you're just going to go because they're the opposite of what the name implies.
Yeah, so you
Where
go to
Iceland is
Iceland
green.
when it's green
And
and,
Greenland
nice
is
outside,
icy.
and Greenland it's
Two different places, though.
Yeah, whatever. All right, my first pitching stat. So the first game we got the San Francisco Giants versus the New York Mets. We've got Anthony DeSclafani. Do you know how to pronounce his last name? I don't know. And Carlos Carrasco on the mound today.
Carrasco. I know how to pronounce that one.
Here we go. Here's a stat about Carrasco for you. He's 0-0 this year with a .84 ERA. You gonna say something?
Anthony DeSclafani.
That's your MLB The Show voice. Carrasco gave up 4 hits and 7 earned runs, including 2 home runs, in 2013 in his only home cloudy game as a starting pitcher with the weather between 55 and 58 degrees. The only other start like this was in 2017, and he gave up a home run and only faced 2 batters.
So you're capping.
Yes.
So who am I betting on?
I say bet on. Can you say the name again in your MLB? The Show accent?
Anthony DeSclafani.
He's been good in his only 2 road starts last year. He's on the road. This will be his first road start this year. I think he comes out hot. I say take the Giants.
All right, you're going to have to do the baseball ones faster if we're going to get to this by the end of the break. So what's your next city?
Sweden.
Sweden. Why Sweden?
I don't know. I just like saying Sweden.
All right, back to a baseball stat.
All right, next game, the White Sox and the Guardians. It's going to be raining, so we don't know if that game's really going to happen. Dylan Cease posted a 6.23 ERA and gave up 6 runs in 2 games on the road against Cleveland last year. 15.43 ERA in 1 game in 2020. And then Zach Plesac on the mound for the Guardians.
Nephew of Dan Plesac.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Plesac struck out 8 and gave up 8 runs on 13 hits in 2 games last season against the White Sox when the temperature was below 60.
So he didn't like the cold.
So you don't like the cold. So take the White Sox. Next city.
You know what? Time out. We got to take a break here. We have to take a break. We're going to tease the top 3 of
Top 3. Mm-hmm.
Brian's top 5 cities, and Brian is also going to give you pitching stats for every other
Game today. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every other game today. So we're going to do that back after this.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, fellas. It's Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and I want to make you aware of something. Did you know that April is Diamond Month? Well, it is. And if your wife or your girlfriend or maybe your daughter has a birthday in April, diamond is her birthstone. If your wedding anniversary is in April, then your wife surely deserves a diamond. Whatever the occasion, a small gift-wrapped box containing beautiful diamond jewelry from Russell Brothers will always hit a home run and make you a hero in her eyes. A ring or a pendant, earrings or bracelet, You just can't go wrong with a piece of diamond jewelry from Russell Brothers. It'll be a gift that she'll treasure for many years. For 5 decades, Russell Brothers has been helping Memphis men find the very best in diamond jewelry for their sweethearts. In yellow or white gold, in platinum or sterling, you cannot go wrong with a gift of exquisite diamond jewelry from Russell Brothers Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Are you ready to take it on with Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike? Because we're ready to put you in a new ride today. With what gas costs today, get rolling in a ride with 41 MPG Highway 2022 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, $199 a month or $14,999. 5 seats, 27 MPG combined, and only $299 per month or $23,915 gets your 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport today from Gossett Mitsubishi. Plus, you'll find the award-winning redesigned 2022 Outlander with plenty of room for 7, $399 a month or $31,414. And you'll always get our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 72 months at 3.9% APR. G4 NHFO 3943. MSRP 16985. Sport NUO 18080. MSRP 25665. Outlander NZO 63636. MSRP 32150. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
If you have damage to your home and have your insurance carrier involved, you need a great contractor. You also need a team that has seen claims of all shapes and sizes, residential or commercial. After our inspection, we'll share our findings and give you our professional opinion. Some people say you get what you pay for. However, our opinion is free. Trust the name you can depend on, like the tens of thousands of families Brian and I have served over the past 20 years here in the Mid-South. Brian Elder Roofing. We'll measure your roof from outer space and share our team's experience for your property and claim. Repaired roofs, replacement roofs, big roofs, tiny roofs, insurance roofs, flat roofs, TPO roofs, asphalt roofs, tile roofs, slate roofs, metal roofs. If your roof needs some love, call me. 901-867-0303 for Brian Elder Roofing and Contracting.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk, chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Dave is out today, but nonetheless, me and Brian Dacus are holding down the fort. We just talked some NBA, some hoops.
Hoop talk.
And in a minute here, we're going to talk with Memphis football legend and former Buffalo Bill, Russell Copeland, about all the things going on in the NFL. Some big NFL news yesterday. We'll get to that in a second. I meant to give out earlier. I did say we're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun all come together. But we also would like to invite you to join us with the AutoZone listener line, our text line, where you can give your thoughts to us, and we may or may not read them on the air. And that number is 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Ow!
But we have waited too long to bring in Russell Copeland, so we are now going to talk to Russell Copeland, former Buffalo Bill. Russell, thank you so much for coming on with us. I really appreciate it. I wanted to start by talking to you about some big news in the NFL yesterday. Deebo Samuel, who had a great year last year for the 49ers. People will remember they were using him in the run game as well as in passing. He's been a great receiver for a while. He is having some contract disputes with San Francisco, and apparently yesterday it's being reported he demanded a trade. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that, and kind of, do you think it has anything to do with the positions that they put him in running the football this year, or do you think it just comes down to money and signing contracts?
Well, first of all, I think it starts when you set the market, and I think the market was set at $20 million a few years ago, and this year, when you look at a receiver such as Christian Kirk, he signs a 4-year, $72 million deal, and $37 million is guaranteed. And when you look at him from a statistic standpoint, he's never had 1,000 yards. He was close last year with 985 yards. Now, what that does, then, that sets the market for free agents, and we saw what Davante Adams. He demanded a trade because he wanted to be the highest paid receiver. And you have to look at the average per year. You have to look at when you make him a transitional player, and that's $20 million a year. And Davante Adams said, no, I'm not playing for $20 million a year when you just paid my quarterback and you gave him $50 million per year. So now he gets traded. So right after that, you look at who's the next best receiver that's under contract or his contract is up. It's Tyreek Hill. So Tyreek Hill, he demanded the same thing, and now he is getting a $72 million guaranteed contract. So now when I go to Deebo Samuel, you look at what he has been able to do for the San Francisco 49ers, running the football, catching the football. Last year he had 1,400 yards receiving. He had 365 yards rushing the football, and we saw what he was able to do in the playoffs. So he wants to be paid around that $30 million mark. That's where the market set for the wide receiver market is $30 million. So he probably wants to get paid around $32, $33 million.
And it sounds like they're going to have to oblige, right? If Christian Kirk sets the market, there's really nothing these teams can do anything different about it, wouldn't you say?
As a former receiver, what I love is that the receivers now, they're understanding their worth. They understand their value, because you look at the quarterbacks, it's a quarterback-driven league, and I talked about the average salary per quarterback. Now the wide receivers, they're helping these quarterbacks. They're producing for these quarterbacks, and now they want to be able to get their value. And Tyreek is getting $30 million a year. Davante Adams is getting $28 million a year. DeAndre Hopkins at $27. Stephon Diggs, he just re-upped with the Buffalo Bills at $24 million a year. And you look at young receivers like DJ Moore, and we talked about Christian Kirk. They're not on the level, to me, when you look at young receivers like Deebo Samuels. And DJ Moore's getting $20 a year, and then there's the older receivers getting $20 million a year, such as Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. So I think he deserves the money, and I think the 49ers, either they're going to come up with a nice plan for him, or either he's going to get traded. And I think for the 49ers, I think he's just too big of an asset for them, running the football. He returns the football. He catches the football. I think they would definitely come with the money. But I love the wide receivers now understanding their worth on the market.
No doubt. I think they would be dumb to let him go. He's just too valuable to that team and doing all the things he can do, like you mentioned, to let him go. Another one, A.J. Brown, too, I saw yesterday. There's rumors about he's just not going to camp or something. I forget what the details are specifically, but they're talking about maybe him going out, too. So I think it speaks to your point. Even guys like A.J. Brown, who has been so productive, they know their worth now. And if Christian Kirk can get this money, they know they're better than that guy and get a little bit more.
That's right. And the next, three receivers, including Deebo Samuels, is A.J. Brown. And I think the other receiver is D.K. Metcalf, who was a teammate at Ole Miss with A.J. Brown. Those are the three receivers that I think it's time for them to get paid. They're young receivers. They've been producing since they've been in the National Football League. So it's time for them to set that market again. at a little bit over $30 million.
No doubt about that. And I think you're exactly right. People too long have treated the wide receiver like it's a throwaway position. We don't want to spend money on that. But you're right. These guys know their worth, and they know that they can get some money out of this guy. And certainly a guy like Deebo Samuel that not only is a threat in the pass game, but the run game deserves that money as well.
Absolutely. No. And also, to that point, we're talking about setting the market, and you talked about the wide receivers getting there. But the running back position is undervalued, and I think when it's time to get the money for the running back position, they have to reset the market. And I looked at Derrick Henry's contract. You're speaking of setting the market, and he only got around $50 million. And right after he signed, Tannehill goes out and get 120-something million. I think it was close to $128 million. So I don't think Derrick Henry got what he was worth. When you look at Ezekiel Elliott, you look at Todd Gurley, they set the market, even though they're not playing the way they played then, but it's a running back position. They're not going to play a long time. So you have to be able to set the market when it's your time to get paid. Prime example is Derrick Henry. I think he's underpaid, and he did not reset the market for the running back position. And now you see how undervalued they are.
That's right, because they know that they're not going to outperform Derrick Henry, and if he's getting that money, they can't ask for more than that. I want to talk to you a little bit about with the draft coming up. Obviously, as a former NFL player, you have unique experience not only with the draft, but really just transition going from college to pro. But I know Bryant, who's sitting as producer today, he is a big Tiger fan, and he wanted to ask you about a specific Tiger receiver going into the draft first.
Yeah, so obviously Calvin Austin has been talked about a lot here in the city, but also I've seen him move up more and more on national draft boards. What do you like about his game? How do you think he fits in the NFL, and where ultimately do you think he ends up? Do you think he's a second-day guy or maybe an early third-day guy?
Well, I talked about it pretty much throughout the year, commentating for the Tigers this year. I think for him, he's very explosive. He's fast, quick. I think the biggest thing for his game is that he used to be a track guy that had speed. Now he's a football player that has speed. I think that's the biggest difference. But when you look at him, how he runs routes very well. He runs routes smoothly. He can understand coverages. He can get away from anyone in man-to-man coverage. And even though he's small, when you look at him having a 40-inch vertical, that makes up for his size, because if you get him in space, he can compete for the football. I think when you look at his testing from the combine, all of those testings that he did, his vertical, his 40-yard at 4.32, I think it may have been even faster than that, his broad jump, all of those were first-round numbers. The difference is the NFL wants to always say, what can you not do? So his size is probably going to limit him. If he was, believe it or not, if he was 5'11", 6 feet, he would easily be in the first round when you look at those numbers. Mm-hmm. I have him in the middle of the second, maybe fall into the third, because this is a big wide receiver draft. When you look at a couple of years ago, there were 13 wide receivers that went in the first 2 rounds. I think this year here, it will be more than that. I think you can easily look at maybe 5, 6. It could even be 7 first-rounders, wide receivers, if the quarterback position gets 2 or 3 in the first round, because there's a lot of depth at the cornerback position and wide receivers. But I think I put him in the middle of the second round. He could slip to the third round, but I think once you see the wide receivers go, I look at him somewhere between the second and third round.
Man, if he goes to second or third round, that's some really good value for a wide receiver to go in the second or third round. There's always good receivers.
And then when you look at Anthony Miller, you look at the statistics that Anthony put up. He went second round to the Chicago Bears. There are different type of wide receivers. When I look at Anthony Miller, he's short, but he's kind of strong. So Anthony makes a lot of plays off of the run. He can catch the football very well. Calvin Austin is one of those explosive wide receivers. You get the ball in his hand in space, he can go the distance. And when you look at the National Football League, they love speed. And you look at how wide receivers are being used. We talked about Deebo Samuel, put him in the backfield. You can put Calvin Austin in the backfield. He can give you value returning kicks. He can return punts. He can also be good at special teams on the gunner. So he's bringing a lot of value despite him being about 170, about 5'8", 5'9", somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's right, too. Like you mentioned about size, but really every opportunity he's gotten, he showed how good he is in the games. He's in the combine. He was super fast. He's really done everything he can to make himself drafted as high as possible. Last question for you here, Russell, before we let you go. Because you are an NFL alum and you have that unique experience having played in the league, drafted in the league, and gone from college to the NFL, I wanted to ask you specifically what that's like, not the draft process necessarily, but when you're in college and you played for 3 or 4 years or however long it's been when you're in college, you're the big man on campus by the end. You've grown so much. You're the most mature player on your team. What's it like walking into a locker room full of grown men professionals and kind of being a young buck all over again?
Well, the scholarship is over. now it's a job. And once you realize the speed of the game, it is so competitive at every position, and all players can perform at a very high level. So coming for me, going to the Buffalo Bills, you're talking about a team that has future Hall of Famers when you look at Jim Kelly, when you look at Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, Bruce Smith, Cornelius Bennett, Darryl Talley, our center Ken Hull. So you're looking at a veteran team, a team that had been to 3 straight Super Bowls. So, I had an ego coming in, an athletic ego, wanted to make sure that I can compete with these players. And I think first and foremost, for all players, I think you have to understand that it's a job first. But players are going to have to adjust to the new systems, to the terminology, the speed of the game, and the physicality. I think that's a learning curve. But once you can understand that, it's football again. And I think players need to relax and not just really, look at the players as superstars or future Hall of Famers, but understand that you can compete. But understand, first and foremost, it is a job. So you really have to live it. You have to breathe. You have to think it. It's a 24-hour job. You're looking at film. You're working out. You're eating properly. That is the difference to me from college to the pros, because it is a job. You're not on scholarship anymore, and you have to perform at a very elite level, because all positions, it's just very close. And what I mean by very close, I think you have a few elite players. And when I say elite players, players that will be Hall of Famers. But the core of the players, your second team and your third team, I think they're very close. And you always have a college draft, so you have to be able to perform at a high level each and every year.
That's very interesting, actually. It sounds like it's a delicate balance in between the confidence you have to have and also being humble enough and not having that ego in order to soak up as much information as you can from some of the best players to ever play the game. That's very fascinating.
Absolutely. And I just think the mental aspect of it, when I say that mental aspect, is that if you're a wide receiver, the coverages change, the speed changes. Like when you're in college, you may go against maybe one player the entire year that may be a professional prospect, but each and every week, no matter what the record is, you're looking at 11 players that are equivalent to All-Americans in college. Your nickelback can play, he can cover. Your safeties, they can run. Your defensive line. You turn on the television, how many times do you really see a reverse in pros go 75, 80 yards?
Never.
You get 10 yards, it's a positive play. In college, you're faster than most people if you're really good. You're bigger than most people. You're stronger than most people. And for me, I was 21 years old when I was drafted. And you're looking at players that are in their 30s. You're looking at players that are in their late 20s. So you have to be ready for the physicality part, but the mental part, the games that you play, the preseason that you play, you have the mini camps. It puts a lot of wear and tear in your body. And the last thing, after the Super Bowl is over with, you look at it in February, some teams don't make the playoffs, so you look at it in January. In March, you're right back training and getting ready to play. Then you have the draft in April. You have mini camps. Then you have camps that are in June. Then you have your big camp in July and preseason in August. So it's pretty much all year long.
That's right. Turns into a job that you do all year round. That's exactly right. Russell, thank you so much for joining me today with Dave out. I really appreciate it. I always like hearing what you had to say, and you have a unique insight being a former on one of the greatest teams ever, Buffalo Bill, and a Memphis Tiger football legend. Thanks, Russell.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy.
Appreciate it. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk to Ron Higgins of TigerDetails.com, and I know Bryant loves college baseball.
Oh, yeah.
So he's got a lot of questions for him. Back after this.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's been 20 years since the first Central Barbecue opened in Memphis, and Craig Blondus, the owner, would like to thank everyone in Memphis for making his dream of serving the best barbecue in the world come true. His slow-smoked Memphis-style barbecue, prepared with care and skill at all 4 Central Barbecue locations, has set the standard for barbecue in Memphis, the barbecue capital of the world. Every week this month, each Central Barbecue location will be offering different food specials and different Memphis-made drink specials as a way of saying thank you, Memphis. We couldn't have done it without you and your insatiable appetite for sweet, delicious pork.
People always ask me, What does being a dealer for the people really mean? Does it mean the best value or the best service or the best selection? This is Colin Johnston from DeSoto Auto Sales. For the people is a simple idea. We believe everyone deserves to drive a nicer, newer car. This belief drives the entire team at DeSoto Auto Sales to care more, to try harder, and to work smarter. We're dedicated to helping you find the perfect car for your life and budget. Many people come to DeSoto Auto Sales for help. Maybe they're making payments on a car that's no longer right for them. Or maybe they owe more on their car than it's worth. Or maybe they've had credit problems in the past. Or maybe they're just nervous and want to make sure they're taken care of. No problem is too big for us. We may not be able to help everybody, but I guarantee we will try our best to help you. I'm Colin, and I'm a dealer for the people. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Give us a call at 662-890-7184 or pick out your nicer, newer car at DeSotoAutoSales.com.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Hi, I'm news correspondent Bob Woodruff. In 2006, a roadside bomb struck the armored vehicle I was riding in while reporting from Iraq. I sustained a life-threatening traumatic brain injury. The military term "got your six" means I have your back, and that day, our service members had mine. During my recovery, I learned firsthand the challenges facing our service members who return home with injuries. While serving, their fellow service members always had their six. Now that they're home, it is our turn. We started the Bob Woodruff Foundation to make sure that the camaraderie and support they relied on in the military carries on, and we need you. Please join us as part of the Got Your Six initiative and help us be there for impacted veteran service members and their families. They've had our backs. It's time we have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org. That's gotyoursix.org, using the number 6.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Dave looks different today.
Younger.
Yeah. Honestly, less hair, though.
That is true.
Yeah.
He has you beat on that.
He does have me beat on that. He's quite a bit older than I am. But so no Dave today. He's out. Me and Brian Dacus are sitting in here. Jay Morgan Harder, Brian Dacus. Follow us on Twitter at whatever respective places. But you should also, you can watch, listen, and I guess those are only two things you could do on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, at Sports56 WHBQ on those places. You could also call or text us on the AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255, getting the zone AutoZone. Carlos Yates, as he does every day, is already checked in with us. So please text us, send us a message, and we'd love to hear what you had to say. We might read it on the air. But without further ado, Ron Higgins joins us now. He is from TigerDetails.com, writing about LSU. Thank you for joining us today, Ron, with Dave. I really appreciate it. And you got a big week, it seems like, with LSU spring game on Saturday. I love spring football. I don't know what it is about spring football. I know a lot of people could just take it or leave it. I'm really a big fan of it. I'm excited to see who is going to come out as the front runner to start at quarterback for LSU this year. What are you most anticipating when it comes to the spring football game for LSU? Good morning.
Good morning. There's a lot of areas, you can look at with this team. Quarterback's one of them. It's either going to be Miles Brennan, the 6-year senior, who went in the transfer portal late last year and came back out of it when Brian Kelly called him, or Jaden Daniels, a transfer from Arizona State. They both have two different skill sets. Miles is more of a pocket passer, great arm, and Daniels gives him an RPO element. So you could probably see both of them. The LSU offensive line needs a vast improvement, and they got a bunch of transfers in that has kind of solidified the line. But all eyes on the offensive line is going to be on the offensive left tackle, who's a true freshman, and he is an absolute load. Walker Campbell, he's 6'6" and 317.
Oh my gosh!
And he can handle. He's handled LSU's all SEC defensive ends like they've been no problem. There'll be some eyes there. But the receiving core, even though Keishawn Butte is out this spring, not playing, the receiving core is deep and solid. Cornerbacks, they need more depth. They just got an Ohio State transfer a couple of days ago. He'll be in during the summer. They got transfers from Arkansas at defensive back, Oklahoma State. Brian Kelly has like 15 transfers he's brought in because LSU was down to 36 scholarship players at the Texas Bowl.
Wow.
And they had to really hit the transfer portal, but he's done a great job. He has probably one of the top 2 or 3 ranked transfer classes in college football. So they've done a good job with that. I anticipate them probably bringing in a couple more transfers this summer, and that'll do it.
6'6", 320 left tackle.
big.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Brian, you got a question for him?
Yeah. So I saw you wrote about this. excuse me, the other day. Sophomore running back Corey Kenner entered the transfer portal. Does that impact that running back group any? I know he battled some injuries last year. How does that shape up the running back group?
Well, I mean, they've got other people coming in. I mean, they've had a guy who missed out last year because of academic eligibility, and he is their best running back, John Emery Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And he's itching to go. He may play in the spring scrimmage or may not. He's been kind of nursing an ankle injury last week or so, but he is dying to play. He is their best back. They have a Penn State transfer coming in the summer. They have Trey Bradford, an interesting case, who transferred from LSU to Oklahoma and back to LSU. Nowadays, you just transfer every other year somewhere.
It's a developmental program somewhere else. Yeah,
you go back to where you came from.
Yeah.
I got to admit, I was in a transfer portal too at one time. I transferred to the Mobile Register and I transferred back to the Commercial Appeal and replaced myself on the staff. They never filled my vacancy, and I filled my own vacancy with the Commercial. They've done a great job with the transfer portal, and it'll pay dividends. And it's been a good spring. The players respond to Brian Kelly and his staff. He's very organized, knows exactly what he wants, and which is a vast difference between him and Ed Orgeron, who didn't know what he wanted.
Yeah.
So,
kind of flies by the seat of his pants a little bit more than Brian Kelly does.
Yeah.
But we're almost out of time here. Brian also wants to ask you a question about baseball.
Yeah, I got a few quick questions about baseball. I saw over the weekend, it kind of made its rounds on social media, the LSU-Arkansas game over the weekend where an LSU batter was standing outside the box kind of trying to regroup himself, and the ump said he spent too much time out of the batter's box, called a strike on it, and was the third strike with a man on first and second, and it was the third out of the inning, so it ended the inning. What happened there, and did you ever get any explanation from the coaching staff or anything, or did they get an explanation of what happened in that situation?
Yeah, it was I think, Drayden Jobert, the designated hitter, the freshman. LSU likes to step in and out of the box a lot and slow down pitch rhythms. And they said he'd been warned once, and he was about to step back in, and the third base umpire, who had a stopwatch out, called him out. And it's like they had like one of their best rallies of the game. They really needed to score, and it just killed them. And in fact, it changed the whole weekend for them. Changed the whole weekend, and I just fail to understand what difference does it make if a guy wants to step out. What difference does it make if a game's 10 minutes longer?
I agree, 100%. Like 3 or 4 minutes off a game.
It's just stupid.
Yeah.
It's a stupid rule, and they shouldn't have it. And it really turned LSU's weekend sour. I mean, really did. I mean, this is a team that needed to win at least one game there, and it ended up getting swept. And it was just stupid. And LSU's coach was too calm about it. I would have been thrown out. I would have got. Now I wouldn't have been the Tennessee coach.
Vitello.
Chest bump.
I've never seen a college coach chest bump anybody in the game ever.
Well, he's the perfect candidate to do it, arguing balls and strikes from the first pitch of the game.
I like him. He's a little crazy, but that was a little bit too crazy.
Well, I appreciate you joining us today, Ron. I really do. A big weekend for LSU with spring football, and they have a home series against Missouri, so hopefully they can right the ship down there. Thanks for joining us, Ron.
All right, take care. We'll see you.
Yeah, see you next week. That'll do it for Bryant and I today. I guess that's it. You know what's next, though, Bryant? Don't forget. Oh, yeah. Who's next, Bryant?
Johnny Harden's Radio. Canada's number 2.
I forgot the name for a second. Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio is next.
It's been said that the world always looks brighter from behind a smile. So why not let my friend, Dr. Mehdi Sadeghi, and his friendly staff at the Smile Center Memphis help brighten up your world. The Smile Center is a local family dentistry located in Germantown, specializing in cosmetic crown veneers, teeth whitening, and Invisalign clear braces, all with free consultation and second opinions. New patients are welcome, and if you don't have dental insurance, don't frown. They have an